Leonor's crown versus her freedom. There is a question that follows every heir to a throne, no matter the century, no matter the country. Is it destiny, or is it sacrifice? For Princess Leonor, that question has grown louder with time. Not because she has expressed doubt. Not because she has resisted her role. But because modern audiences understand something previous generations rarely discussed openly, the tension between the crown and personal freedom. It is a question that feels deeply human. Leonor was not elected into her future. She did not apply for it. From the moment she was born to King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia, her life followed a constitutional script written long before she could read. Spain is a parliamentary democracy. The monarchy does not govern, but it represents continuity, unity, and constitutional order. That symbolic role carries immense weight, especially in a country with a complex political and regional landscape. But symbols are carried by people. And people have private desires. Imagine growing up knowing your future is mapped with ceremonial precision. Every academic decision, every public appearance, every friendship even, viewed through the lens of future queen. There is privilege in that life, certainly. Education at the highest level. Global exposure. Cultural refinement. But privilege is not the same as freedom. Freedom implies options. And for Leonor, options have always existed within defined boundaries. Her education illustrates this balance. She studied both in Spain and abroad, gaining international perspective. She has trained militarily, following the constitutional tradition expected of a future head of state. Each step has reinforced a single message: preparation is not optional. Yet preparation can coexist with personal curiosity. Behind the formal portraits and official speeches is a young woman shaped by the same generational influences as millions of her peers: digital culture, global awareness, evolving conversations about identity and autonomy. She belongs to a generation that asks not just what they must do, but why they must do it. That generational lens makes her journey especially compelling. Because the crown she is destined to wear represents history, tradition, continuity, but her life unfolds in an era defined by self-expression and personal choice. The tension between those two realities forms the heart of her story. In previous centuries, royal duty was rarely questioned publicly. Heirs accepted responsibility as divine or absolute. Today, monarchies survive through public trust and democratic compatibility. Legitimacy is not assumed, it is earned continuously. That modern context reshapes what duty means. Leonor's role is constitutional, not political. She will one day represent Spain at home and abroad. She will symbolize unity during times of celebration and tension. She will speak carefully measured words in moments when the nation seeks reassurance. But she will also live under constant observation. There is no complete anonymity in her future. No ordinary professional path to experiment with. No casual public misstep without amplified scrutiny. That is the cost of the crown. And yet, every public appearance she makes suggests not reluctance, but resolve. When she speaks, there is seriousness. When she trains, there is discipline. When she stands beside her parents at official events, there is awareness of posture and protocol beyond her years. Some interpret this as proof that she has fully embraced duty. Others quietly wonder what personal dreams may exist beyond constitutional obligation. Does she ever imagine a life without formal ceremonies? Without structured expectations? Without the inevitability of succession? It is impossible to know. And perhaps, it is not even the right question. Because modern royal duty is not about surrendering identity. It is about aligning identity with responsibility. Leonor's evolution suggests she understands this alignment deeply. Her military formation, for instance, is not symbolic theater. It is physically and mentally demanding. It places her in environments where hierarchy is strict and comfort is limited. This is not the path of someone shielded entirely by privilege. It is the path of someone being prepared deliberately. Preparation can feel restrictive, but it can also feel purposeful. Purpose changes the meaning of sacrifice. If freedom means doing anything at any time, the crown limits it. But if freedom means choosing meaning over impulse, perhaps duty becomes its own form of agency. Spain's monarchy has endured transformation before. It adapted through political shifts, constitutional redefinition, and public skepticism. Under King Felipe VI, emphasis has been placed on transparency and institutional integrity. Leonor inherits not only a title, but a carefully recalibrated institution. Her challenge will not be to dominate headlines. It will be to maintain trust in an age that questions authority instinctively. That requires emotional intelligence. To carry tradition without appearing distant. To represent continuity without resisting change. To honor protocol without losing authenticity. These are not small tasks. And they intensify the internal balance between crown and self. When she engages with young Spaniards, there is a noticeable warmth, not exaggerated but genuine. When she addresses formal gatherings, there is composure, not rehearsed stiffness but intentional presence. These dualities suggest something important. Leonor is not disappearing beneath the institution. She is growing within it. The thumbnail asks, duty or choice? But perhaps the deeper truth is that her life is both. She did not choose to be born heir to the throne. But every day she chooses how to carry that reality. She chooses discipline over distraction. She chooses preparation over complacency. She chooses responsibility over rebellion. That is not passive inheritance. That is active acceptance. And acceptance, when voluntary, transforms duty into strength. There will be moments ahead when personal desire and constitutional expectation collide. Public debate about monarchy will not disappear. Scrutiny will intensify as she grows older. Every decision will be interpreted symbolically. Yet if her trajectory continues as it has, she will navigate those moments not by suppressing individuality, but by refining it within her role. The Spanish crown in the 21st century cannot survive on ritual alone. It must resonate with younger generations who value authenticity. Leonor represents a bridge between eras, shaped by tradition, fluent in modernity. And that bridge requires balance. Balance between privacy and visibility. Between national symbol and individual identity. Between inherited destiny and personal agency. Perhaps true freedom for someone in her position is not the absence of obligation, but the clarity of purpose within it. To wake each day knowing expectations are immense, yet stepping forward anyway. To understand that the crown limits certain paths, yet opens others that few could ever imagine. Global representation, cultural diplomacy, historical continuity, these are not ordinary callings. They are burdens, yes. But they are also opportunities. And opportunity can feel empowering. As Spain looks toward its future, the question will not simply be whether Leonor fulfills her duty. It will be how she shapes it. Will she bring subtle modernization to ceremonial language? Will she deepen youth engagement initiatives? Will she redefine how monarchy communicates in a digital age? Those evolutions will reflect not just obligation, but personal imprint. Because no sovereign rules exactly like the one before. Each leaves a signature. And Leonor's signature is still forming. The tension between crown and freedom will never disappear entirely. It is woven into the fabric of constitutional monarchy. But tension does not always mean conflict. Sometimes it creates strength, like opposing forces stabilizing a structure. Leonor stands at that intersection now. Not forced forward, not retreating, but walking deliberately. The crown she will one day wear is heavy with history. But history alone does not define the future. Character does. If her composure, discipline, and steady evolution are indicators, then her path is not one of reluctant obligation. It is one of conscious commitment. And conscious commitment transforms destiny into decision. So when we ask, duty or choice? Perhaps the answer is more nuanced than either word alone. It is duty embraced as choice. It is freedom expressed through responsibility. It is individuality shaped, not erased, by service. Leonor's story is not about losing freedom to a crown. It is about discovering strength within it. And in that discovery lies the true meaning of royal maturity, not surrendering to expectation, but rising to it with intention. The crown may define her role, but how she carries it will always be her own. As the years have passed, the world has watched Princess Leonor grow from a child into a young woman under public scrutiny. Every choice she makes, every school she attends, every speech she delivers, every public engagement, is analyzed for what it says about the balance between her crown and her personal freedom. And that balance is delicate. The crown provides structure, expectation, and continuity, but it also imposes boundaries. Leonor has learned to navigate those boundaries with a quiet sophistication that belies her age. When she participates in military training, follows diplomatic protocols, or attends cultural ceremonies, she is exercising the discipline required of a future sovereign. Yet beneath that discipline, there is room for personal growth, moments when curiosity and individuality shine through. Her education has played a key role in shaping this balance. Studying abroad, learning foreign languages, exploring international perspectives, these experiences provide a glimpse of life beyond royal protocol. They also offer tools to engage with a globalized world thoughtfully. Every conversation she has, every interaction she participates in, builds the duality of her life, one foot in tradition, one foot in a modern understanding of self. The pressure of constant observation cannot be understated. Social media, 24-hour news cycles, and public commentary mean that every smile, pause, or gesture is dissected. Ordinary teenagers experience self-consciousness, Leonor experiences it amplified exponentially. And yet, her conduct consistently conveys awareness without stiffness, presence without pretense. This balance reassures the public that the monarchy is in capable hands, while simultaneously asserting that she retains her identity within her role. Freedom, in her world, is nuanced. It is not the freedom to live anonymously or to step away from obligation. It is the freedom to define how she will meet expectation, the freedom to choose her approach to leadership, the freedom to infuse the institution with her perspective while respecting centuries of tradition. In essence, it is the choice to accept responsibility consciously and intentionally, a form of freedom few can comprehend. Public perception has shifted accordingly. Critics who once questioned whether a young heir could withstand the weight of her position now comment on her composure and intellectual maturity. International observers note her ability to navigate formal diplomacy with authenticity. And younger generations see her not just as a figurehead, but as someone who represents their era while honoring her heritage. Yet the tension between crown and freedom will always exist. It is inherent to monarchy. Some days, ceremonial duties will compete with personal aspirations. Some moments, the weight of history will press harder than the desires of youth. But these tensions are shaping her character, teaching resilience, and cultivating foresight. They are the crucible in which leaders are formed. In quiet, private moments, Leonor may imagine paths not taken, experiences she cannot yet pursue. But those moments do not define her publicly, they inform her privately. They create a depth of empathy and self-awareness that will serve her as a future queen. She learns that limitation does not equate to loss. Responsibility does not erase individuality. Rather, both can coexist, forming a foundation for strength and authenticity. The question of duty or choice evolves in this context. Duty is no longer a cage, it is a framework within which she can exercise agency. Choice is not absolute freedom, it is conscious decision-making within defined boundaries. In combining these forces, Leonor demonstrates that leadership, at its best, is neither inherited nor imposed, it is actively embraced. As Spain continues to watch her development, it will witness not just the growth of a royal, but the emergence of a leader. One who understands that personal identity and constitutional obligation do not have to be mutually exclusive. One who is learning to wield the weight of history with intention, while quietly cultivating her own voice. The crown may set the path. Public expectation may guide the steps. But Leonor herself is choosing how she walks it. Each measured gesture, each disciplined action, each thoughtful interaction is part of a journey that merges tradition with personal agency, responsibility with freedom. And in that journey, she is quietly redefining what it means to grow up royal in the modern world. She is showing that a crown does not eliminate choice, it transforms it, elevates it, and demands that every choice be intentional. In this second phase of her evolution, Leonor is not merely preparing to inherit a throne. She is learning to harmonize duty and self-determination, to find her voice within centuries of expectation, and to demonstrate that freedom can exist even where obligation is absolute. It is in this delicate interplay between the crown and her personal agency that the true story of her coming of age unfolds, a story of resilience, wisdom, and emerging authority. As Leonor moves forward, the world continues to observe not just a future queen, but a young woman learning to navigate the subtle intersection of public expectation and personal growth. The third phase of her journey is less about proving readiness and more about shaping identity within her role. It is here that the delicate balance between crown and freedom becomes most visible. Each public engagement, each speech, each appearance is a lesson in leadership under scrutiny. She listens as much as she speaks, observes as much as she acts, demonstrating that authority is not just inherited, it is cultivated through awareness and intentionality. This awareness extends beyond protocol, it encompasses empathy, cultural understanding, and an appreciation for the diverse voices that make up modern Spain. At the same time, Leonor's private development continues away from the public eye. Her academic pursuits, international experiences, and military training are not merely ceremonial, they are opportunities to expand perspective, build resilience, and understand the complexities of governance and diplomacy. These experiences allow her to integrate personal insight with constitutional responsibility, turning obligation into informed choice. The tension between duty and personal desire remains ever present, but it no longer defines her as a limitation. Instead, it shapes a framework for intentional decision-making. Every interaction, every commitment, and every lesson reinforces the understanding that leadership is about harmonizing competing demands rather than choosing one over the other. Public perception is shifting accordingly. Where once commentators focused on youth and inexperience, they now note poise, composure, and thoughtful presence. International observers recognize that her approach aligns with modern expectations of constitutional monarchs: disciplined, authentic, and strategically aware. Younger generations, in particular, see her as relatable not because she mirrors their daily lives, but because she demonstrates integrity and agency within a highly structured world. This third stage also emphasizes consistency. The crown is not a one-time test, it is a lifelong commitment. Each repetition of disciplined behavior, each measured speech, each careful interaction builds a pattern of credibility. It is this continuity that begins to convert early doubt into trust. The public begins to anticipate her growth rather than question her capacity. Ultimately, this phase illustrates that freedom and duty are not mutually exclusive. Leonor is discovering that true autonomy in her life arises not from escaping responsibility, but from consciously embracing it. The crown does not erase choice, it channels it, giving purpose and direction to the liberties she can exercise. In this stage, Princess Leonor is not just preparing to inherit a throne. She is shaping the leadership qualities, emotional intelligence, and strategic insight that will define her reign. The lessons she learns now, discipline, diplomacy, balance, and self-awareness, will echo through her life and the monarchy she will one day lead. The third part of her journey is thus defined by synthesis: the merging of personal identity with institutional responsibility, the blending of aspiration with expectation, and the crafting of a leader who understands that her freedom is expressed most powerfully through conscious, deliberate action within the bounds of duty. Spain, and indeed the world, watches closely. Not for perfection, but for the emergence of a sovereign who embodies both tradition and modernity, authority and authenticity, duty and choice. This delicate harmony is the hallmark of her third stage, and it sets the foundation for the moment when she will fully step into her future role.